Hi, it's Sally again. Again, only if you've seen me once before. So if not, I'm Sally. What do I want to talk about today? Um, Good question. I guess I wanted to talk about hmm, living life authentically. That sounds a bit deep, doesn't it? And it's something that I have been pursuing for a long time now. I kind of feel like we're all a bunch of people who try to squeeze ourselves into specific little boxes in ways that try to make other people happy or try to contain our true selves. And because we think that's what we should do, that's what will make our parents happy, our brothers and sisters happy, our friends, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, God, whatever it is that is surrounding us, that cerebral force, whatever it is, will that pressure to succeed, to be accepted, to fit in, happy. And it just opens us up to so much depression, negativity, and influences us in such a bitter way that just rapidly fucks us up, to be honest. And when one person is trying to overcome that and other people around them are still stuck in that mentality of proving that they are right and that they are good and that they are doing this and this is what it's supposed to be like, and you kind of feel like the odd one out. But you might have felt like that for a long time. You might have felt like that as a child. You might have kind of felt like that other people are the aliens, but now you might kind of feel like you're the alien. I might be, as you might realize, I'm kind of talking about myself here. As I sit down in social situations and people start discussions, I'm kind of silent, and it's not that I don't have anything interesting to say or that I don't want to contribute. It's that I don't fucking know how. And often the conversations that they have, I have little interest in. I'm quite apathetic about certain issues. I don't really, no, not really, I don't watch the news. Specifically because I find it extremely negative, and I am a highly intuitive, sensitive person, and that, oops, here's my cat. Love animals too, by the way. That impacts me greatly. I don't want to know the crap that's going on, and you might say, well, we have a role to play here. We have a responsibility as human beings to take ownership of what's going on in the world, and that's right on one level. But I don't want to get sucked into that negative bubble and be influenced by that sort of stuff. It's hard enough on a day-to-day level, surrounded by certain people who are extremely negative, to stay out of that stuff. I've worked so hard growing up in the situation I grew up in to start to unravel my own paradigms, my own mentality, my own sense of self, actually to develop my own sense of self, that I don't need that other added shit. You know what I mean? So people that sit there and watch the news and suck it all in and go, oh yes, the world is terrible. Just watch the news. It just reinforces that. To me, I don't want any part of that. So when people are talking about world events, I don't have a clue. I have to be told when we have a new prime minister, pretty much. And I nod and smile. I nod and smile in social situations, and I things I want to talk about. People really probably have no clue. But then you sort of start to think deep down, maybe these people actually would get certain benefits out of what I want to bring up. And the stuff that I want to bring up is probably completely different to what they're talking about. I dread the question that people would ask. So what do you do? What do you do? Because people are either that I know. Oh, I'm a lawyer. I'm an accountant. I'm a stockbroker. I'm in banking. I work I work really long hours, or I work 9 to 5. I'm all this structured sort of stuff. I work certain side of the brain type thing, and that's fine. I'm not that type of person. I'm not going to be out there doing that sort of thing. For me, with my journey, everything I've been through, not going into my traumas, I can't do that sort of stuff, and that's just not me. And with everything that's inside of me, I have to develop my own sense of where I fit best and what I can bring to society, and that's something I'm still trying to figure out. So at the moment, when people ask me, I say I am doing animal studies because that is what I'm doing. I am at TAFE. I am in Australia. TAFE is just a sort of what you call, like, I don't know, a community college, a college type thing. So I'm doing animal studies. Love animals. After I did leave school, I did study veterinary nursing. I didn't finish the course. I guess I was a bit low in self-esteem at that time. I did struggle a bit. I was working in retail, and around that time I fell pregnant, and everything sort of changed around that time. Things were a bit of a struggle, but having my child really has given me the motivation to change. And I have done a lot of healing, and I've had to, but I've wanted to. There has been a real catalyst for change in my life. And things were a lot different. If you'd seen me 6 years ago, I was at my worst. Worst being really fucked up. Really, really fucked up. Anyway, I've come a long way since then. Discovered a lot about why I was fucked up, why I was labelled as mentally ill. Discovered why I had a lot of feelings about certain things and around certain people, and discovered that I'm basically extremely intuitive. You could call me psychic. And now that's very hard when you have a lot of repressed trauma inside of you, and also that you don't know that you're intuitive or psychic. Anyway, so this is where everyone's probably going, this girl's a bit nuts. Everyone is intuitive, and this had to be sort of this is where I found my sort of mentor coach. Although before this, I did find some real, cuckoos, some real nuts, some very unhealed healers, which can do a lot of damage. If you're very unhealed in yourself and you're out there trying to heal or help other people, you can do a lot of damage. I myself have done an awful lot of healing. And healing is not just one step, it is layers upon layers upon layers of healing. You do not just get to one thing and think, oh, I'm done. It's a lifetime of healing, of recognition, of acceptance, and of growth, and of reaching goals. And that's just what it is, and it's a commitment. And what I've been through and the depth of healing I've been through, and of not wanting to see the stuff inside of me and not wanting to accept things, but have been pushed and pushed harder and harder to see these things, and yet have still come up strong and still been resilient and persisted with it. I really should give myself props for it, but I forget about how far I've come, and I need to remind myself. It's been healing that has been so hard and so strong, would leave it would leave grown men crying in the corner like little girls. That's how hard it's been. It's not for everyone, but for me in this lifetime, it is what I've chosen to do. And I am extremely grateful for this opportunity that I've been given, or that I chose to take upon. And I'll get into sort of more what the healing is in a little bit, but basically where I'm at now is in a place of sort of figuring out what the next steps in my life are. And basically I have a goal, and that big goal is for me to get my own house. I've been living in sort of crappy, subsidised government rentals, poverty, with this poverty lack mentality of money for a long, long time now, and I want to break free of that, because that's just bullshit. That's not going to get me anywhere. Money is something that a lot of people think is evil, is bad, is the root of all problems. Money is something that we all should have. It's not something that is bad and that we shouldn't acquire. Abundance is kind of a godly state, and I bring up God because I've had this real struggle with God, what God is, and to me God is a male figure. To you, God might be something completely different. I felt completely isolated from God as a child, and it had a lot to do with my parents and what they projected upon me as a child of what God was. But God and money are two sort of very integral things. Once you sort of hand everything over to God and you kind of trust in God, things become a whole lot easier. And God is kind of not what you think God is. It's not God in a religious sense. It's God as an energy, because we are all energy. We're all energetic beings. We might be here physically, but at the end of the day, we are energy. Everything is vibrating around us. I pick up on vibrations. I'll walk outside and I'll pick up on who's vibrating on fear level, on an angry level, and it can be very, very hard to know. Oh, what's mine? What's going on? What's sort of reacting to something that's going on inside of me, and what is just someone that's just plain nuts, you know. So that's where a connection to God is what's really helpful. God, and also what I'll call guides. Here we go with the word angels. This is where it gets a bit weird for a lot of people. So I'm really putting myself out here. But if we just stick with the word God, you feel a real sense of comfort and really connecting with God. And this takes a lot of practice and a lot of trust. And I'm still not completely there. But with God comes a sense of guidance and a sense of I'm loved and I'm taken care of. And in that, there is an encouragement that money is also something that you should have. Why shouldn't you have money? Where is this story that comes from that you should only have a certain sense of money, a certain amount of money, and that only certain people should have money, and that you should work and slave away for the rest of your life like a dog to have money, and that only bad people have money. All this bullshit about money. You should have money. You should be comfortable. If you want that certain car, why not have that car? God doesn't care. He wants you to have that car. God doesn't have rules and regulations pertaining to certain things. It's all a load of crap. Trust me. God doesn't care. He does care, but he doesn't care, you know? He loves you, and that love is unconditional. He wants the best for you. He doesn't judge you. You say you want that $3 million mansion. He's like, yeah, go for it. And what can I do to support you in getting there? And in supporting you, that means you need to take action upon guidance that you get. And you are getting guidance every day, all the time. You're just probably not hearing it. You might not be taking action upon it. You might be saying, yeah, I kind of hear it, but you know what, fuck that, I'm not doing it. Because I'm pissed off, or it sounds too hard, or I'm scared, or I might fail, or whatever the reason is. And trust me, I've been through all of that. You might be going for a goal, and you might get to a certain way, get to a certain point, and then suddenly you're right back to where you began. And that's because you reach something called the terror barrier. Suddenly all your fears come right up to the surface and you're like, I can't do this, I can't do this. And you're scared shitless. But that terror barrier is where you need to keep going. But you get practice at it. You will hit that terror barrier and you might bounce right back. But then you have to keep going. You might not realize what's happened. You might go right back to the beginning of where you started. And suddenly you realize, oh shit, I've stopped taking action upon reaching my goal. And you'll feel like crap. And you might beat yourself up about it. Trust me, I've done this. And you just stop taking action. But then you'll start to get nudges again, and you'll start to feel like, hang on, I want this. I really, really want this. And so you'll start to take action again. You'll start to get guidance again. You'll start to, get forward momentum. And you'll hit the terror barrier again. But this time, you'll start to get a bit of, like, hang on, been here before. I'm on to you. What do I do? Okay, and it'll get a bit easier each time. And each time you're making progress. You are getting there. And each time you are overcoming obstacles, you are overcoming old fears, you are seeing things differently, you are making progress and you are getting there. Along the way to reaching a goal, it's not just about the end result. It is about everything, every step along the way. you are changing your mindset, you are changing, you're creating a new story inside yourself. You've got all these old subconscious thoughts that are probably working away inside of you that you don't even know are there. Maybe you've got these, you might be aware of feeling like worthless, you don't deserve certain things, or it might be completely subconscious, going on, working away down there. You might be saying to yourself, I deserve this, I deserve this, I deserve this, but down inside it's going, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve this, and that's working against you completely, because what you put out into the universe is what you're attracting back. It's just a magnet, a law of attraction. You can't escape it. It's what we work on. It's how it is. So if you're putting out into the universe, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve this, I can't have this, I can't have this, the universe is going to say, okay, you can't have this. You're not going to have this. You're not going to get it. You have to change the story also inside of you. So when you're focusing upon a goal, you'll find that all this fear, all these old subconscious thoughts that come up that need to be changed will get addressed. And it's not pleasant, it's not fun, but it has to be done. And if you want something bad enough, you'll go through the process. And it can be helpful to have a mentor at this time. I was lucky enough to find a mentor who I resonated with, who I trusted, and I've been dealing with now for many, many years. And you have to trust your gut, you have to trust your intuition. And it took a few tries to find the right person, and now I still deal with her now regularly. I also get a lot of energy healing, energetic healing, which clears away a lot of old crap. It just cuts cords, it gets away a lot of the old stuff hanging about, darkness, because I just have to have it. If I don't have it, I can't really get ahead of myself yet. I can't really progress the way I want to. So I have a lot of that done. So for me, energy healing done by distance with my mentor is extremely important for me, as well as having the mentoring sessions, which are intuitive coaching type things. But I have to follow the guidance that I'm given to a T and commit to it, otherwise it just won't work. And there's a lot of personal responsibility taken on my behalf. And I'm given the tools. It is to empower myself and complete the journey myself, because it is about creating people who are empowered and who know what they need to do to create change in their own lives. We don't want to be dependent upon other people. We want to be creationary beings in our own lives, because that's what we are. That is what God intended us to be. That is what we are here to do. And for me, that is what this is all about. And if I can help you in the same way to start your own journey, then that is good enough for me. What else can I say? Each day I have to laugh. In fact, I laugh so much that my daughter tells me, stop laughing, Mummy, you're making me laugh too much and I need to concentrate or be serious. And I have to go away and do it in another room. Laughter is the best medicine. It really, really is. So I would recommend laughing. If your body is telling you to rest and you can do it, rest. Don't push yourself too hard. Sometimes the best outcomes you can get are when you just stop and you listen. And you just lie down and you just stop the frenetic pacing. You know, the frenetic pacing that you do because you feel like you have to fill your time up. A lot of the anxiety and the voids people are trying to fill is because they just do not want to feel what they are feeling. And if you stop and you just let yourself go there, you can then get up and you'll have some insight. You'll get some guidance. You'll feel a bit better, and then you'll realize a little bit about why you're feeling that way, and you'll clear some of the stuff. You know, you'll clear some of the clutter, and it's very helpful. And then you can get up and you can focus and you can get done what you need to do. Sorry, and that's very helpful. Pushing yourself, trying to force things sometimes is not so helpful. If fear is overcoming you, you have to look at why you're afraid. Sometimes if I'm extremely afraid and I just do not want to go and do something, if it's TAFE or something, I do really have to push myself because there is often a reason behind it, and that is something in my mindset or a family thing that just says, you know, I don't deserve to succeed in this, or I've manipulated my mind somehow, and I need to be on top of that. Other times, it's okay to just let things go. It's all very personal, so it's all very different for everybody, you know. Get very frustrated with people who are not willing to take control of their own lives. Give them guidance and love and compassion and support, and they just still do not take responsibility. That really annoys me. Especially when you're trying your hardest, it just adds added pressure to your life. So boundaries, you know, just if you've had enough people, just do those close to you in your life, and that's okay. What else can I talk about? Food. If you are someone like me who has dealt with food issues in their lives, it is a struggle. I have been at both ends of the scale. People telling me I had anorexia. In my mind, anorexia, or to me, anorexia is when people deliberately and are aware of withholding food and then they exercise excessively. I didn't do that. For me, it wasn't a conscious decision. And my lowest weight, I was 37 kilos and I'm 5'6". For me, the reason that I got that low in weight was just plain trauma inside of me. Did not allow me to eat, to consume food. There was a small part of me wanting to stay childlike in my body and just disgusted food, how that made me feel, and it was all very complex. And when I tried to refeed myself or force feed, just thinking I had to do this because I thought if I don't I might die, then I sort of went the opposite. You have to let it be okay. It will balance out to a happy medium. The internal voice of reason, of what is healthy, of what is normal, of what your body really wants will eventually poke through and say, I am so fucking relieved at my body shape. I still struggle with it. And it's one of those control issues, you know, I can control this, I can try to control this. But it does balance out. You have to sort of let yourself eat what your body is craving when you've been through that deprivation period, which I had been through, and also will admit I didn't recognise I was depriving myself. It had become so normal as well, both through trauma and through wanting to stay that size because I felt I had to. And it felt safe to stay that size. So when eating normally, you have to let yourself enjoy those foods again. And it can be a real relief. Seeing the weight come back on can be extremely scary. But know that you will balance out in the end. And your mind, and if you have that connection, that spiritual connection, that God connection, or just trust in that it's there to help. Just ask for guidance, just ask for help with it, and know that it's kind of secondary to everything. It's secondary because it's obviously you've had this issue because of some kind of trauma, because of some kind of core issue that has not been dealt with. So the food, the eating is secondary to other things, and you need to let that be okay. You need to have some acceptance. Other cat. You need to have some kind of acceptance and self-compassion, and these can be some of the hardest things to have. Self-compassion, self-love, whatever the hell self-love is that people say. Love yourself. What the fuck does that look like? And just let it be. You know, in that instance, if you're eating food and it's making you feel happy, I think just let it be. Because I figured out when that happens, things just balance out, and then eventually it starts to get a lot more balanced, a lot more normal, and can swing back the other way again. You start to try to take control again, but if you just keep working around it, it'll be okay. And don't focus on it as the main issue, because it's not the main issue. It's something deeper, it's something more of a core issue, it's something emotional. Which brings me to everything else, you know, our emotions, our past traumas, our relationships with our parents, all the crap that we soaked up as children, as babies, all their fears, all their drama, because there's, you know, we're all very intuitive as children. We all pick it up from our parents. You know, all their money issues, all their drama. We're soaking that up into our subconscious. It becomes our, you know, our sense of self, our who we are in a way. Though we may be thinking, geez, that's crazy. My parents are telling us, oh, it's so scary out there. Children, put your shoes on. You know, you're gonna get hurt. Don't do it. Don't cross the road. We might be looking at them like you crazy people, thinking, I've just come into this world. I think I know better. I'm still so connected to God. But, you know, we end up taking that on, and we're so afraid of everything. But depending on your upbringing, you might be one of the lucky people. Good for you. But if not, you know, that becomes kind of our paradigm, our mindset, the way we think, and that kind of just snowballs, and that becomes our journey. All of that combined carries out through our lives, makes, you know, all our decisions, our thoughts, feelings become our action, you know, our thoughts become, it all becomes our actions. What we think and feel, it turns into our actions. If we think we're thinking all this shit, We're going to have shit around us, you know? It's just how it is. And that's shit too, so that makes you feel like shit, doesn't it? So that's nice. But we can change it, but you just have to change your story. And that can be hard. But we just have to laugh at our parents. Ha 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 ha. But it can be pretty fucking depressing too. And it can take some tears, and you have to let yourself go there, because who wants to cry, to be honest? To get myself to cry, I have to get on the phone with someone who pushes my buttons and makes me cry to get this repression out, because otherwise it's just I'll just have this anger inside of me, and no, don't see this, I don't want to see this type thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? And these people with blinkers on, you try to tell them, well, you might have a business and you might try to help them. Why is your business failing? And because everything in your life has to do with the outcome of everything. Why your business is failing, why you're struggling, why you're working like a dog and you're not seeing any success. Well, do you think it could be because of all your emotional repression and all the baggage you're carrying on with, but you're not willing to look at it or deal with it. I have people like that in my life, and it's very hard to deal with. And there are people like that, you can't actually move away from, but you usually have to have certain ties with. But it's very frustrating. And I don't want to seem like I have all the answers and everything I'm saying is right and they're wrong. It's just, you love these people and you want the best for them. And at the same time you think, am I doing enough? So, I do doubt myself every day. Here I am, doing animal studies, and everyone else is out there working 9 till 9 at night. And a part of me wants to be doing some kind of work out there, but I'm not that, I have a different role here, I know that, and it's just starting to come out, and it's starting to come out in these weird YouTube videos. And so previously I have had blogs, which none of you probably have ever seen. But for now I'm keeping it a little bit simple, though that was probably not simple. But it did touch on a lot of woohoo stuff. So I'm putting myself out there quite a bit, in a sense. We've covered kind of a lot of stuff. Considering my previous video was on beauty products, this is kind of a leap for me. So anyway, if you've watched the whole thing, yay. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Thanks for watching. See ya.